3 years after he permanently marked me, Lucas started saying I was a defective omega, not as exciting as the others. I nodded, calmly handing him the divorce papers. You're right. Let's get a divorce, then. Looking at my face, Lucas let out a soft laugh. He signed his name without a second thought. Just so we're clear, this time it's for real. I'm not gonna sweet-talk you back. An omega like you with no pheromones, who's going to want you after this? I didn't argue. I just grabbed my already packed suitcase and moved out. One night, sometime after the divorce, Lucas called me drunk. Harry, why aren't you home? Are you still mad? Suddenly, the phone was snatched away by someone behind me. He looked down at my limp body. He raised an eyebrow and said with a faint smile, him? Oh, he's busy. Yeah, he just fell asleep. You really want to go through with this? Lucas asked lazily, leaning against the cabinet. I didn't say a word. I just walked over and held the divorce papers out to him. Lucas glanced down at them, then slowly lifted his eyes to look at me. What is it this time? Mad because I worked late and didn't come home? Lucas's shirt was rumpled, the top 2 buttons undone. He didn't seem to realize how strongly he reeked of another omega's pheromones, or the hickey on his neck. Everything was screaming it at me. Last night, he had slept with someone else. Again. As long as I didn't call him out on it. Lucas wouldn't admit it. Like right now, he could still look me in the eye and say he was working late last night. Even though he knew I knew exactly what was going on. I met his gaze calmly. Next time you sleep with someone else, remember to air out their pheromones. It's a little disgusting. Hearing this, Lucas just laughed. Okay, I'll be more careful next time. There wouldn't be a next time. Lucas didn't take my wanting a divorce seriously. Even with the papers right in front of him, he still thought I was just mad. That I wanted him to coddle me. Not that I was actually leaving him. I pushed the papers in my hand a little closer to him. Sign it. Lucas just stared at me for a long moment. Then he chuckled. He grabbed a pen, signed his name. After signing, he casually tossed the pen into the trash can. Just so we're clear, if we're really doing this, I'm not chasing after you. A flicker of indifference crossed his eyes. He said carelessly, you should really think about it. An omega like you, with no pheromones, unable to get pregnant, and permanently marked by me, who's going to want you after we divorce? Lucas was right. As a defective omega who had been permanently marked, no one would want me, but I didn't care. I carefully put away the signed agreement. Then I turned, went upstairs, and came back down with the suitcase I had packed long ago. As I passed Lucas, I stopped. There are still other procedures after signing. I'll let you know when the time comes. Lucas turned his head. His gaze fell on me. He said slowly, deliberately, you're gonna drag this out for that long? Fine. I'll wait for your call. After he finished speaking, I walked away without a backward glance. The day after I moved out, I scheduled an appointment for the mark removal surgery. It was in 10 days. A permanent mark isn't like a temporary one. One requires surgery. The other just needs time. My phone suddenly buzzed. Lucas had sent me a picture. It was of the books and some of the clothes I hadn't taken. His meaning was clear. He thought this whole divorce thing was just me playing hard to get. I typed back a reply. Throw it all out. Lucas didn't respond. I didn't care. This time I was serious about the divorce. That night, Lucas called. Come pick me up. The same entitled tone as always. In the past, this would have been his way of offering me an olive branch. A way for me to back down. I turned a page in the project proposal I was reading and said flatly, I'm busy. Lucas laughed on the other end. He shouted to his group of friends, she's really mad this time. Won't even come get me when I ask. This is tough. She's still going on about a divorce. Someone laughed and cursed. Serves you right. What do you expect when you're messing with other omegas all the time? I listened, my face devoid of expression, until they started making bets about me. Betting on when I would finally go get Lucas. Lucas said with a grin, 5 days tops. 10 days. A week. I silently hung up the phone. The room was quiet again. It's fine, I thought. Once I have the divorce certificate in hand, it'll all be over. He can play whatever games he wants. It will have nothing to do with me. Lucas lost the bet. He called me, his voice lazy. Still mad? It's been almost a week. When are you coming home? I said coolly, Lucas, we're divorced. Lucas let out a laugh. Fine, divorced it is. So when will you stop being mad? It was clear Lucas really hadn't taken the papers seriously. He thought I was just throwing a tantrum. If you can't understand, there's no point in talking. I hung up the phone and let out a long, deep breath. I felt exhausted, body and soul. I just couldn't understand. It had only been 3 years. How did Lucas change so much? We met at a mixer during our junior year of college. We got each other's numbers. He was a straight shooter. He made no secret of his interest in me. A month later, he asked me out. I turned him down. After that, Lucas acted like nothing had happened. He still came to see me every day. The turning point in our relationship was at a friend's party. We bumped into each other at the entrance. Neither of us brought up his confession. Not until we got to the door of the private room. Inside, I could hear people mocking me. Is Lucas really into Harry? I heard he doesn't even have pheromones. What's an alpha supposed to do during their rut? He's only got a pretty face. He's what you call a defective omega, no scent and can barely even get pregnant. TSK. You call that an omega? Before I could even react, Lucas kicked the door open and started fighting the 2 guys who had been bad-mouthing me. 1 against 2. Lucas held his own, but he didn't come out unscathed. When I pulled him away, the ferocity in his eyes hadn't faded. He gave the 2 of them a cold warning. If I hear you talking about him again, I'll beat you up every single time. Afterward, I asked him, why did you fight for me? Lucas's face was bruised, but his voice was earnest. I like you and I don't want people to say bad things about you. Pheromones don't define you. If you had a choice, no one would want to be like this. Even now, I can still remember the look on his face when he said that. Later, I accepted his confession, and he was genuinely good to me, but unfortunately, he still cheated. He complained that I wasn't as exciting as other omegas. The reason was as realistic as it was absurd. The day of the surgery, something unexpected happened. I ran into Lucas, and the omega he had with him. Lucas's pheromones were unstable, so he had to get them checked every 3 months. In the past, I was always the one who went with him. When he saw me, Lucas's eyebrows shot up. A smug look on his face. Are you here to see me? I was still in a hospital gown, holding a checkup form in my hand. But Lucas acted as if he didn't see any of it. Lucas, aren't you thinking a little too highly of yourself? I sneered, glancing at Lucas and the omega behind him. Are you even worthy? I said coldly. With that, I turned to leave. It was like a switch flipped in Lucas's head. He grabbed my hand, his eyes fixed on my hospital gown. You're sick? I yanked my hand back, my face a mask. What's it to you? Lucas just stared at me. Then realization dawned. He laughed. Is this whole show for me? I gave him one last, flat look, and said nothing. I just turned and walked away. The omega next to him asked in a soft, whispery voice. Lucas? Who was that? I'd seen this omega on Lucas's social feed just yesterday. He had posted it specifically for me to see, hoping I would immediately call him, ask him who that person was. Lucas glanced at my retreating back and said nonchalantly, Oh, just a friend I don't know well. He was right. We were strangers. Back in the hospital room, the doctor came in to go over the pre-op instructions. My scent gland was underdeveloped. Technically, I could be defined as a disabled omega. That's why getting the mark removed was riskier and more painful than for a normal omega. I knew. I had looked it all up online a long time ago. I was sure I wanted to remove the mark. I signed the surgical consent form. The doctor was right. The mark removal was agonizing. For an omega, the surgery is just cruel and unfair. But lying on the operating table, I felt a sense of relief I had never known before. Once the mark was gone, I would no longer be Lucas's omega. He and we would have nothing to do with each other ever again. It was a week before I was discharged. I stood on the side of the road trying to hail a cab. My face was frighteningly pale. The back of my neck was still swollen. Anyone could tell what had just happened. No one was accepting my ride request. I swayed, and a Maybach pulled up smoothly in front of me. The back window slowly rolled down, revealing Sean's face. His eyes were fixed directly on me. Lucas's uncle, only 5 years older than Lucas, and still single. His entire family was worried sick about it. At one point, they thought he didn't like omegas. They'd even set him up on dates with alphas. They all fizzled out. "Why are you at the hospital alone?" he asked. "Where's Lucas?" My vision was turning black around the edges. I had to shake my head just to keep from collapsing. He didn't seem to need my answer. He just threw out 2 words. "Get in." I wasn't close enough with Sean for that. Plus, he was Lucas's uncle. I shook my head. "No, it's fine. I'll just get a cab." Sean's expression didn't change, but I could see a hint of displeasure in his eyes. We stared at each other in silence for a moment. That, combined with the searing pain in the back of my neck, I had no choice but to get in the car. "Sorry to trouble you." After I'd collected myself, Sean suddenly spoke. "What happened to your neck?" I didn't expect him to notice right away. He was bound to find out about the divorce sooner or later. I said softly, "It's from the mark removal surgery." The car fell into a dead silence. After a long moment, Sean said, "Mark removal?" His brow was furrowed. His eyes filled with a complicated emotion. "Yeah." I said, "Lucas and I are getting a divorce." As I said it, my hands unconsciously gripped the fabric of my pants. As Lucas's uncle, he was bound to try and talk some sense into me, right? But Sean was quiet for a long time. Confused, I turned my head, only to lock eyes with him. He asked, "Did it hurt?" For a second, I didn't register it. "What?" Sean repeated patiently, "The mark removal." "Did it hurt?" My hands unconsciously released the wrinkled fabric of my pants. I hadn't expected that. Sean didn't ask me why I was divorcing Lucas. Instead, he asked me if the mark removal hurt. My eyes trembled, and I rigidly turned my head back to face forward. I forced 2 words out of my throat. "No." It hurt like hell. Still hurt now. Even after turning away, I could feel Sean's intense gaze fixed on me. "Harry." Sean said, "You're a terrible liar." I was completely speechless. "Where to?" Sean asked. The topic shifted a bit too quickly. I hadn't had time to react. On reflex, I gave him an address. The car had already been heading toward Lucas's house. Hearing me, the driver made a U-turn. After he dropped me off, just as I was about to get out, Sean grabbed my arm. Just for a second, then he let go. He asked in a low voice, "When do you get the divorce certificate?" I had just filed for divorce 2 days ago, so there was still a 30-day cooling-off period. I was confused by Sean's question, but I answered him honestly. "After listening, sean nadid." He said slowly, deliberately, "Got it. Okay." I was about to unlock my door. Sean called my name. I turned and met his gaze head-on. Sean said it like he was talking about the weather. "Once you're divorced, will you marry me?" I froze. I must have misheard. I opened my mouth without thinking. "What did you say?" Sean paused for a moment. "Or, give me a chance to pursue you." This time I heard him clearly. I wasn't dreaming. Sean said he wanted to pursue me. "Uncle, are you kidding me?" "No." Sean said, "I'm serious." Sensing my stiffness and confusion, Sean didn't press the issue. He unlocked the car door for me. I didn't hesitate. I practically fled from the car and hurried away. After a shower, I lay in bed. My mind was filled with what Sean had said. I had only met Sean a handful of times. Each time was just a polite nod, a simple greeting, nothing more. Before I could figure it out, a text message pulled me from my thoughts. It was from Lucas. "I'm on a business trip for a while. You can come home if you want. Stop being mad. I bought you a present." I pushed Sean's words to the back of my mind for the moment. Lucas still thought I was the same as before, that I was just throwing a fit. He could sweet-talk me a little, buy me a few gifts, and I'd always come running back to him. Just like he said, an omega like me permanently marked by him. No one else would want me. I rested at home for 2 days, then went back to the office. While out entertaining a client, I happened to run into the out-of-town on business Lucas. When he saw me, he didn't look guilty at all. Just a look of resigned amusement on his face. He smiled and said, "How'd you know I was here?" He raised an eyebrow, his smile lazy. "Did you see the present I got you?" I said coldly, "You're overthinking it. You're not the only one here." The client I was meeting called my name from a short distance away. I turned around and answered him. Then I turned back to look at Lucas. His expression had soured. Lucas didn't like my job. My monthly salary wasn't even worth a bottle of his wine, and it was tiring. He had long since forgotten about my career, and saw me as a canary in a cage, completely dependent on him. I didn't look at Lucas again. I started to walk away, but he grabbed my arm, holding on tight. His gaze moved from my neck to my face. He stared at me, his voice trembling. "Your scent gland? What happened?" In our circle, there was no way Lucas hadn't seen an Omega who'd had their mark removed. He just couldn't believe I would actually do it. I broke free from his grip and looked him straight in the eye. I said lightly, "I just had the mark removed," as if I were talking about something completely insignificant. The people around us gasped. They seemed shocked that I would do something so drastic. Lucas's face turned ugly. Removing the mark meant that his alpha pheromones were no longer on me. It also meant I didn't want him anymore. He gritted his teeth, looking at me in disbelief, as if he couldn't believe I would really go through with it. In his mind, I loved him so much. How could I possibly have my mark removed? The night he permanently marked me, I had told Lucas that for an underdeveloped Omega like me, once I was permanently marked, not only would it be more painful than for a normal Omega, even having it removed would be worse. But Lucas had just kissed away the tears of pain from my eyes, and softly promised me that he would never give me a reason to have the mark removed. Lucas's eyes were bloodshot, red with anger. He said word by word, "Harry, are you really going to take it this far?" It felt like I could never get through to Lucas. He couldn't see his own mistakes. He just kept blaming me. I didn't try to defend myself. I just said, "Lucas, don't forget the date for the divorce papers." After seeing the client off, I stood outside the restaurant, vomiting. After I was done, a bottle of water suddenly appeared in front of me. I followed the hand holding the water up, and Sean's face came into view. For a moment, I was speechless. He gestured with the bottle. "Rinse your mouth." I hadn't seen him since he'd said those things to me. I was even starting to suspect he was just playing around. Sean's expression was normal. "You'll feel better if you rinse your mouth." After a moment, I reached out and took it. "Thanks." I twisted it open and took a big gulp. After rinsing my mouth, I did feel much better. After a minute, Sean said, "I'll take you home." I shook my head, refusing. "No, it's fine. I'll get a cab." Sean said, "Yes, you will." In the end, I still got in Sean's car, because I saw Lucas standing by the entrance. He was staring straight at us, as if he could burn a hole through me with his gaze. In the car, neither Sean nor I said a word. We were as quiet as two mutes. Just as I was getting lost in thought, a video popped up from one of Lucas's friends. I opened it and saw that the star was Lucas. The lights in the private room were dizzying. Lucas was leaning back on the sofa, looking a little lazy. He even winked at the camera. He was doing it on purpose. A scantily clad Omega was straddling his lap, leaning against his chest, using their teeth to gently undo the buttons on Lucas's shirt, one by one. When they got to the fourth button, Lucas, with a half smile, reached out and lifted their face. Planning on undoing them all? The Omega blushed, but their actions were bold. In that position, they stuck out their tongue and licked Lucas's fingers. Even after watching the whole thing, I felt nothing. I replied with 2 words. "Noted." Once we arrived, I pulled on the car door handle. It didn't open. I turned to look at Sean. Sean calmly took out his phone and displayed his QR code. "Add me on WhatsApp." After I added him, Sean checked it twice before putting his phone away. I breathed a sigh of relief. Just as I was about to get out, Sean asked, "How's your scent gland? Does it still hurt?" I froze for a second, then shook my head. "It doesn't hurt anymore." After I said that, the atmosphere became quiet again, until he reached out to touch me. I flinched back in surprise. Sean's hand froze in midair. He said, "Let me see." He didn't sound like he was joking. He sounded like a creep. I pressed my lips together and said again, "It doesn't hurt anymore." I didn't give Lucas's video a second thought. To be precise, I didn't care. But he couldn't sit still. He sent me 10 apology messages in a row. I didn't read them all. I just muted him. Lucas wasn't truly sorry. He had just realized that this time, I wasn't like before. I wasn't the one trying to make peace. And I had my mark removed. All of this made him panic. That's why he apologized. But it wasn't sincere. Lucas would never change. The first time I smelled another Omega's pheromones on Lucas, I confronted him with teary eyes. He explained helplessly that he had just accidentally picked up the scent, and that he had absolutely not done anything to betray me. We had been together for 5 years. I believed him. When we decided to get married, Lucas had even cut ties with his family. They only had him as a son. When things got heated, Lucas still wouldn't back down. He insisted on being with me, an Omega who could barely get pregnant. In the end, they had no choice but to agree. The wedding was a huge affair. Everyone in high society was there. It was enough to show everyone how much Lucas valued me, his Omega. Even if I was flawed, he still wanted me. How grand the wedding was then, is how quickly he turned on me now, and got bored even faster. Once there was a first time, there was a second, a third. At first I couldn't believe it. Later, I was completely heartbroken. On the day we could get our divorce certificate, I called Lucas. Lucas sounded like he had just woken up, his voice slightly hoarse. Divorce certificate? Yeah. Lucas let out a tisk, sounding annoyed. Harry, are you really going through with this? Yes. It sounded like Lucas was lighting a cigarette. Then a strange voice came from beside him. Lucas, smoking so early in the morning? I'm covered in your pheromones, come smell? I couldn't help but laugh. Lucas's personality. I knew it all too well. 1 second he's apologizing to me. The next he's in bed with another Omega. That Omega didn't even care that Lucas was on the phone, and kept being clingy, until Lucas cut him off. Shut up for a sec. I'm gonna get a damn divorce. Then Lucas said to me, fine. I'm on my way. When Lucas arrived, I had already been waiting for 20 minutes. Let's go. Lucas didn't move. He looked a little listless. When he saw I was really going to go in, he reached out and grabbed me. No regrets? I pulled my arm away. No regrets. Lucas just stared at me. Harry, if you regret this now, I'll pretend none of this ever happened. He looked at me, his voice suddenly dropping. We can go back to how things were. It doesn't matter that your mark is gone. I can just mark you again. Hearing such a scummy thing come out of Lucas's mouth, and his indifferent attitude, I wanted to laugh. This was the man who had once fought with his family for me. Now he was just a scumbag whose true colors were showing. I curled my lip into a sneer, a hint of mockery in my eyes. Even though Lucas had changed his clothes, he couldn't hide the smell of the other Omega's pheromones. He stared at me intently, seeing that my resolve hadn't softened one bit. He sighed in frustration. Fine. If you want a divorce, then let's get a divorce. With the divorce certificate in hand, I let out a huge sigh of relief. I was afraid Lucas would back out halfway through. Lucas didn't seem to care about the certificate. He casually stuffed it into his pocket. This time your tantrum went all the way to divorce. He said nonchalantly, we can get back together when you're not mad anymore. Besides, you can't live without me. Lucas was wrong. Before, I had only forgiven him again and again because I loved him, not because I couldn't live without him. Now that I had the divorce certificate, there was no need to keep getting tangled up with him. I let out a soft laugh and said, don't worry. I won't get back together with you even after you're dead. With that one sentence, Lucas's face turned ashen. He was about to say something, when Sean's car slowly pulled up. Are you done? He glanced at Lucas, then said to me, if you're done, get in. As soon as he said it, a strange atmosphere descended upon the entrance of the marriage registration office. Our eyes met. I suspected Sean was doing this on purpose. Lucas's face had turned ugly. Even a fool could sense something was wrong. He stepped forward and smiled at Sean. Uncle, what are you doing here? Sean jutted his chin toward me. Just passing by. Came to pick him up. At that moment, the young couples coming to get married were all staring at us, as if they were watching a scene out of some cheesy drama. Lucas's smile faded. He turned to look at me, and confirmed, picking Harry up? I calmly met Lucas's gaze. We stared at each other for a few seconds. Then I stepped forward. Lucas's eyes followed me. I bent down and said to Sean through the car window, sure, thanks for the ride. I reached out to open the passenger door, but Lucas slammed his hand on it, holding it shut. His eyes were bloodshot as he coldly questioned me. Harry, are you just trying to make me mad? So, was it my uncle that night, too? I had been impulsive. Let go. I said, my face a blank mask. We're divorced. What does it have to do with you? The standoff lasted for almost a minute. Lucas let go. Then he laughed. Fine. We'll talk when you've cooled off. If you want to get back at me, go ahead. After he finished speaking, he looked at Sean in the car. His smile didn't reach his eyes, and it was tinged with a slight sarcasm. Then I'll have to trouble you, uncle, to take Harry home. Sean said coolly, don't worry. Sitting in Sean's car, I was already regretting it. The silence in the car was deafening. I asked Sean to drop me off at the next intersection. He didn't answer. He just sped up as we approached it. Huh? What did you just say? Sean looked genuinely confused, as if he had just snapped out of a daze. Oh, you wanted me to stop at that intersection up there? Sorry, I was zoning out. Didn't hear you. When it came to playing dumb, Sean was in a league of his own. I was impressed. I just told him to take me to the office. These past few days, because I was dealing with this mess with Lucas, I had been taking continuous leave. Sean didn't say anything. He just turned the car around and dropped me off at the company entrance. I thanked him. As I was getting out, Sean said, Harry, I'm officially pursuing you now. He said it with such seriousness. I rejected him with even more. That afternoon, a message from Sean suddenly came in. Are you free tonight? I'd like to have dinner with you. I stared at the two messages for nearly 2 minutes and sighed in frustration. Sean's decisiveness was so fast I couldn't keep up. What was he pursuing? An Omega who had just divorced his nephew. The gossip would be awful. It would make Sean a laughingstock. Was he insane? Never mind me not agreeing. There was no way Sean's family would agree, unless they were all insane. Perhaps seeing that I hadn't replied. Sean sent a sticker. I paused. I have to work late. I don't have time. I typed. Sent. A moment later, my phone buzzed. Again. Okay. It wasn't exactly a lie. I had taken a lot of time off recently. My work had piled up. I had no choice but to work late. When I left the office that night, I saw Sean's car at a glance, and the man leaning against it. I'll take you home. Sean walked up to me. Is that okay? Some things needed to be said sooner or later. I said, okay. On the way back, Sean suggested, let's get a late-night snack. Okay. In the restaurant, Sean handed me the menu. What would you like to eat? I didn't take it, just said, anything's fine. You can order. I'm not picky. Sean didn't insist. He ordered. After the waiter left, I looked at Sean and said, Sean, there's no future for us. You don't have to pursue me. Sean met my gaze. The rest of my words got stuck in my throat, unable to come out. It was an uncomfortable feeling. I looked away, my fingers unconsciously fiddling. I continued, so, don't waste your energy. You can find an Omega who's right for you, not chase after a divorced one like me. A moment of silence. Sean finally spoke. Not even a little bit of a chance? My throat felt dry. I said, no. It wasn't until after we finished our late-night snack that Sean said, I didn't agree to anything you just said. I looked up sharply, and our eyes met. He gave me a faint smile. It doesn't matter if you agree or not. Me pursuing you is my business. It has nothing to do with you being divorced. The divorce just means my chance has finally come. With that, Sean stood up. Let's go. Take you home. No, it's fine. A silent standoff. I lost again. I got in Sean's car. Halfway there, my phone buzzed twice. I opened it. It was a message from a friend of Lucas's. Hey, do you want to come pick up Lucas? He's drunk and throwing a fit. Won't let anyone touch him. Whatever you two are going through, it's better to talk it out at home. Lucas really cares about you, he just likes to play around a bit. He could never actually like those people. Then he sent a video of a drunk Lucas. An Omega was still sitting next to him, but they were biting their lip, their eyes red, as if they had been deeply wronged. Looking at the 3 messages, I still wanted to laugh. The people around Lucas weren't any better than he was, all rushing to speak for him. I replied with 2 words. Noted. I turned off my phone. Sean suddenly spoke. Should I turn around? I turned my head, just then realizing. Sean must have heard the video. No, I said, just take me home. 5 minutes later, the friend sent another video. It was of Lucas, eyes closed, calling my name. I replied, noted. Sean dropped me off at home. As I was getting out of the car, he suddenly asked me, "Will you get back together with him?" Sean asked with such sincerity. His body was tense. Until I said no. The divorce was final. The mark was gone. How could we possibly get back together? When it came to Lucas, my heart had long since died. Sean looked at me for a long time, then said, "Okay." Back at home, I collapsed onto the sofa, exhausted. I don't know how much time passed. My phone rang, but it quickly disconnected. I checked and saw it was Lucas's friend again. I didn't answer the call. He then bombarded me with 5 or 6 messages, all asking where I was, why I hadn't arrived yet, how much longer. I rubbed my throbbing head and replied, "Noted." The friend? I turned off my phone and went upstairs to shower. When I came out, my phone was vibrating nonstop on the bed. It was Lucas. I didn't answer. Lucas didn't call again. Every time we had a fight, he would get wasted and have his friends call me to come pick him up. In his eyes, it was a way of giving me an out. All I had to do was take it. Too bad. That trick didn't work anymore. My phone suddenly buzzed. "Good night." It was from Sean. After that, Lucas didn't call me again. I gradually got busier. Working late for client dinners became a common occurrence. The only constant was that, after seeing my clients off, I would always see Sean. Sean would walk over and help me up. The scent from his body filled my nose. "I'll take you home." It was like Sean had gotten addicted to being my driver. By day, he was CEO Sean. By night, he was a part-time chauffeur. Occasionally, he would even magically produce flowers and gifts. I felt a little helpless. I leaned against his car and lit a cigarette. Sean didn't say anything. After 2 drags, I felt my mind relax a bit. Ever since I started getting busy with work, whenever I was exhausted, I'd have one. With the cigarette between my lips, I asked Sean, "Aren't you tired?" "No, but I am." I looked at him. "Why are you pursuing me? Does going after your nephew's ex-omega give you a sense of accomplishment?" Sean calmly cut me off. "I like you." The rest of my words were choked back. For a moment, I couldn't react. I was just stunned, until the ash from my cigarette burned my hand and I snapped back to reality. I looked away, not knowing what to say. "I'll take you home." Sean said, "It's hard to get a cab at this hour. You're an omega, I'm worried." As Sean got closer, the scent from him grew stronger. I frowned slightly. "Sean, is your rut coming on?" Sean stopped in his tracks. He said, "I think so." Sean's rut came on suddenly. He couldn't drive. We had to get a designated driver. We sat in the back together. Every time the car jolted, our knees would touch, and I would subtly move mine away. The window was open. The wind blew in. The smell inside grew even stronger. Sean's pheromones smelled like lime, tart and astringent, a bit of a contrast to him. Sean suddenly spoke. "Is your pheromone scent freesia?" I froze, and subconsciously covered my scent gland. Ever since the mark removal, I hadn't been using suppressant patches. 1, because I hadn't fully recovered. 2, because I barely had any pheromones to begin with. No one would notice if I didn't wear them. "You can smell it?" I looked at Sean in surprise. "Is it a freesia scent?" The doctor had told me my pheromone scent was so faint it was almost non-existent. No one would ever be able to smell it. Not even Lucas. Sean chuckled, his voice slightly hoarse. "Yeah, I can smell it. It's a freesia scent. It's very nice." It was the first time I knew I had pheromones, and the first time I knew they smelled like freesias. I didn't see Sean for the few days he was in his rut, but I did get a ton of messages. He sent so many that I would occasionally reply. After work, I saw Lucas from a distance. He was leaning against his car, smoking. As expected, he was here to see me. Lucas put out his cigarette and walked toward me. He said calmly, "I sent you messages, but you didn't reply. I called, but you didn't answer. So I had no choice but to come find you." Ever since the divorce, I had deleted all of Lucas's contact information. After I announced the divorce in the family group chat, I left it. Lucas's parents were, of course, happy. After all, they never liked me. Now that we were divorced, it was exactly what they wanted. I asked nonchalantly, "Do you need something?" Lucas was taken aback. The frustration on his face deepened. "It's been almost a month. Are you still mad at me? You got your revenge, didn't you? I miss you so much. So I came to find you. Harry, let's get married again. When Lucas said this, it didn't sound like he was asking for forgiveness. It sounded like a blessing he was bestowing. It was laughable. Sometimes, I really couldn't help but wonder, what was I to Lucas? We had loved each other so passionately when we were young. After we got married, he was the only one who changed. Was it that I had never seen his true nature? Or had he really changed? I let out a sneer. Lucas, are you out of your mind? Do you think I'll come running back just because you say a few nice things? Are you overestimating yourself? Or do you still think I'm a fool? Lucas's face stiffened. He frowned. Harry, can you stop messing around? You can't possibly think Sean is actually interested in you, can you? Don't be stupid. What is there about you that he could possibly like? There's a long line of people waiting to marry Sean, but that person won't be you. It could never be you. It was only then that I realized. In Lucas's mind, I had always been someone lowly, with no redeeming qualities, and easy to control. It wasn't that Lucas's heart had changed. It was that this was who he always was. So stop dreaming. Lucas said, besides me, no one will want you. Looking at Lucas's smug face, I clenched my fist and punched him squarely in the face. An Omega strength is no match for an Alpha's, but I put all my strength into that punch. Lucas touched his lip and looked at me in disbelief. I met his eyes coldly. I don't need anyone to want me, especially not trash like you. I turned, and my eyes met Sean's. I didn't know when he had arrived, or if he had heard what Lucas said, but I didn't care. After all, I had never planned on latching onto Sean, or being with him. Sean stepped forward and gave Lucas a cold glance. As expected, only trash can't see the good in others. But you got something wrong. It's not about whether I'm interested in Harry, but whether he's interested in me. If he were willing, we could get married today. Sean's tone was flat, but the words he spoke made Lucas's pupils shrink. I stared at Sean, stunned. My throat felt a little dry. Lucas laughed out loud, looking at Sean with extreme sarcasm. Uncle, don't tell me you've fallen for your own nephew's Omega? Don't you think that would be a joke if it got out? Sean said, there's nothing laughable about it. You're the one who will become a laughingstock. Sean's words were so loaded that it took me a while to process them. Like Lucas said, what was there about me that Sean could possibly like? A red light. The car stopped. I pressed my lips together and turned to look at Sean. I asked softly, Sean, what do you like about me? We hadn't seen each other for almost a week. This was the first thing I had said to him. The moment Sean met my gaze, a smile pulled at the corner of his mouth. He asked me back, what do you think I like about you? I couldn't think of anything. A defective Omega, not good with words, quiet, and a divorced Omega who had been permanently marked. So I couldn't think of anything. Sean said softly, Harry, I knew you before you knew Lucas. I know what you're like better than anyone. I was stunned by Sean's words, suddenly speechless. I didn't say a word all the way home. Had I met Sean before? I really had no memory of it. I got out of the car like a robot and closed the door, then turned to leave. Sean called my name. When I turned back, he just said, good night. I replied dryly, good night. Lucas had gone crazy. He came to me apologizing, begging me to forgive him with red-rimmed eyes, promising he would never mess up again, hoping I would remarry him. I ignored him, so he started waiting for me outside my office. All my colleagues knew how my devoted ex-husband was begging for my forgiveness, and were eagerly eating up the drama. Too bad for them, I was unmoved. Sean, on the other hand, was still relentlessly pursuing me. Daily check-in messages were routine. Gifts were a surprise. Handing over a contract was a way to curry favor. He said it himself. As long as it makes you happy. However, it didn't. Sean's project successfully got me a promotion, which required a month of training at the corporate headquarters. When Sean found out, he smoked in silence all night and said, I regret it. I couldn't help but laugh. It's only a month. Sean Navid. It's not only. It's a long time, but it's okay. When I miss you, I can take my private jet to see you. Those words precisely plucked at a string in my heart. I sighed. I was done for. I think I'm falling for him. The night I accepted Sean's confession. He leaned down and kissed me. Lucas, who was passing by, saw it. The two of them immediately started fighting. Sean had studied kickboxing. Lucas hadn't done anything in years besides exercise with omegas in bed. He was quickly taken down by Sean. He stumbled to his feet and looked at me stubbornly. Shaking his head, "Harry, you can't be with my uncle, you're mine." I looked at him calmly. "No, I'm my own person." Lucas thought I was a defective omega. He couldn't smell my pheromones. But Sean said that in his eyes, there was no difference. Lucas looked down on my job. Sean said he would always respect my choices. Lucas would put me down, devalue me until I was worthless. But Sean encouraged me to try new things. He didn't even need me to put him first. Instead, he said, "You are you. Put yourself first." The day I left for my business trip, Sean came to see me off with a sour face. I deliberately teased him. "I should thank CEO Shin for the project that got me this promotion and training."
Sean smiled helplessly.
Just before I boarded, Sean held me and kissed me for a while, before finally letting me go. Before getting on the plane, I received a text from an unknown number. It was Lucas. He said he had been in a car accident and asked if I could go see him. I typed back, my face expressionless, "I'll come when you're dead." Then I blocked the number. On the 5th day of my training, Sean came. He really did take his private jet. He impatiently pressed me against the door and kissed me. The lime scent of his pheromones instantly enveloped me. I don't know how much time passed. Sean's head was buried in my neck. We were both a little breathless. Sean said in a hoarse voice, "I've planted some freesias. You can see them when you get back. Okay?" My eyes fluttered. I gave a soft hum and said, "Okay." I asked him, "Sean, can you really smell my pheromones? Can you smell them now?" "Yeah." "But I'm a defective omega," I said. Sean said, "I can smell the freesias. You're not defective. They smell wonderful." When Lucas called, I was crawling forward with all my might. "Sean, the phone, I have to answer the phone." A drop of Sean's sweat fell on my back. He wrapped his arms around me from behind and pressed against me. "Answer it." He thoughtfully answered the call for me and put it to my ear. Lucas's drunken voice came through the phone. "Harry, why aren't you home? I miss you so much." I couldn't speak at all. Sean was being mischievous. He deliberately moved. I bit my lip hard. Sean took the phone away and chuckled. "Harry's busy. It's not a good time." I didn't even have the strength to open my eyes. Sean gently touched my face. Oh, he just fell asleep. The call was disconnected. I struggled to open my eyes. "No more, okay." Sean picked me up. "Let's go take a shower." That shower took almost half an hour. I completely shut down. When I woke up the next day, my legs felt paralyzed. I had no feeling in them. I kicked at Sean in shame and anger, silently questioning him. He looked very innocent. "You didn't tell me to stop." After the training period ended, Sean wasn't in a hurry for me to go back. He wanted to take me somewhere. He was being very mysterious. That night, Sean took me to a scenic lake. To match the atmosphere, the surrounding buildings were specially constructed. The warm yellow lights created a special charm. Sean led me onto a bridge. There were other couples on dates. He pointed to the building across the way. "The first time I saw you, it was over there. You were wearing a traditional ethnic costume and taking pictures with tourists. You looked beautiful. I just stood here watching. For a long time. By the time I went to find you, you were already taking pictures with some other little girls. And you didn't even notice me." The last sentence sounded a little resentful. A memory stirred in my mind. I had a faint recollection. It was a summer job. I was sent over there for a promotion. The costume was provided by the staff. I just remember that night. My face was stiff from smiling so much. Nothing else. I started to laugh. "I probably just didn't see you." Sean didn't listen to my explanation. "That's because you weren't paying attention to me. I never expected that the next time I saw you, you'd be Lucas's boyfriend." Even more resentful. If we kept talking like this, Sean would drink 3 vats of vinegar. I changed the subject. "So, you like me back then?" Sean didn't say anything. "So it was love at first sight." "Well, you're really shallow then. You looked so beautiful in that outfit."
Sean chuckled.
"And it wasn't just about looks. Why else would you give the little girl a pig balloon and then give me one too? I think I remembered that. That night, a 7-year-old girl had gotten separated from her mother. She was crying her eyes out. I gave her 2 of the balloons I was holding, and she finally stopped crying. After her mom came to get her, I had 1 balloon left, and I couldn't take it on the subway. So I just gave it to a passerby. Hope this makes you happy, Sean smiled. That's what you said to me. That night I really wasn't happy. Before I could ask him why he wasn't happy, Sean took my hand and led me from one end of the bridge to the other, and then back again. I was about to ask him why we were walking back and forth, when I heard Sean say in a low voice, "They say if a couple walks from one end of the bridge to the other, they can be together for 100 years. He squeezed my hand. So we walked it twice, which means you're mine in this life and the next. I was stunned. A pang of emotion hit my chest. I looked away. You still believe in this stuff? Sean said, I didn't before, but I do now. On the way back, I said, trying to sound casual, I'm thinking about getting married again. Sean stopped in his tracks. His gaze was burning as he looked at me. To who? I smiled. I don't know. Maybe someone with the last name Shin, who knows? Sean said, then that's me. He paused, then said, I'm not like Lucas. Harry, I will love you. You can always trust me. A gentle breeze stirred the fallen leaves on the ground. I heard myself say, okay.